Back in the day, when I was coming up, way before I even had a brand, all I cared about was just making dope stuff and flipping it and getting my own money when I was about like 15, 16 years old. Even way back then when I didn't have a brand at all, I grew up around like a bunch of streetwear brands based out of Portland. And, that kind of inspired me, what I'm saying, damn near almost 7 years later to finally like start making my own brand and stuff like that. When I made my first $10,000 leveraging my big homie's brand, all I was doing was they would front of me clothes. I'm taking those clothes, I'm selling them out of my locker. They take 70%, I was getting cut like 30%. And that's how I touched my first, like, I think it was like 9,500. You know what I mean? Within like a 4-month time span by the time I was 16 years old. But the reason why I bring that up, because a lot of people think that it's so hard to make money and things like that when it's not really hard at all. I know that it's a lot of young people out there, a lot of teenagers like I once was that want to start a clothing brand, but they lack in the knowledge, they lack in the resources. They don't have credit, you know what I mean? Because obviously they're underage. Obviously their parents probably not helping them. They probably trying to make money to help out their family. So that's exactly why I'm breaking down a whole entire blueprint, no BS guide system on exactly what I would do if I'm under the age of 18, or if you was even like me when I first started my brand, 23 years old, no credit, no money, no nothing. Only had $500 and a Fanta and some top ramen, and that is it. That's all I had to my name, and I made nothing out of this. And I made nothing into something. So basically the first thing I would do is, obviously we got to have the name and everything like that and the vision for the brand that you're trying to do. Once I have all of that set in place, next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to go grab either between 1 to 2 shirts. I'm going to make sure that I get those digitally mocked up. I'm going to show my friends and my homies to see which ones that they like the most. And if there is a favorable one, then that's when I'm going to go get a sample. And rather than going overseas and things like that, the reality is you're not prepared to go overseas yet. You know what I mean? You don't have the skill sets to go work with international production, even though you might think you are, or the bullshit YouTube clothing brand gurus are just straight up lying to you. So what you need to go do is, go find a local screen printer or find somebody that can do local DTG. Now, if you don't know what DTG is, that means direct to garment. So basically the shirt can get done within a matter of minutes, but at the same time, those shirts are going to cost you a lot of money. So my whole thing is, why don't you just go find a local screen printer that you can start building that foundational relationship with? So once your clothing brand does take off, now you already have the screens burned and everything like that, and you already have a trustable, likable, good relationship with the screen printer. So once I got my screen printer, I'm going to ask him to make a sample for me. He might charge anywhere between $100 since it's probably like 1 to 2 shirts. Once I have those 1 to 2 t-shirts, I might have me and my best friend wear those shirts all throughout my school, right? But you got to remember, I've already showed everybody the mock-ups and they like them and they want them. You know what I mean? To the people that's like, oh yeah, that's dope. Like, I'll support you. So I'm going to them, and then I'm going to be like, hey, the shirts are coming in 2 weeks, even though that they're not coming at all, right? And I'm going to be like, hey, I'm going to be like, Adam, hey, Josh, the shirts are coming in 2 weeks. Be all like, do you still want that shirt? More than likely, they're going to be like, yeah. I'm going to be like, okay, well, give me $30 now for the shirt so I can lock you in, because I have such a demand that a lot of people want the shirts, and I want to make sure that you guys get yours. So all I'm doing is taking all the cash up front. So now let's just say I sold 14 shirts to people in my high school hallways for only $30. That's $500. Let's just say that's the initial cost for just like 80 t-shirts, right? So now I just sold 14 t-shirts, made $500. I take that $500, go pay my screen printer. He knocks out the shirts within a matter of like 1 to 2 weeks, but now I have 80 shirts in total. So we did 80 minus 14. So now do the math. I was down the hallways. I sold the 14 shirts before I even got them done. People see them physically on me, right? Because I spent my little $100, $200 for the sample with my screen printer that's down the street. I sold 14 shirts up front. I took that $500. I paid that $500 to go get 80 tees done, right? So now I'm giving the 14 their shirts as soon as my screen printer is done, and now I'm sitting on 66 t-shirts, right? Now, if we did the math, what's 16 times 30? Now that's leaving me with $1,980. So now what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to go reinvest again, but this time I might do it rather than on a white t-shirt. Now I'm going to do it on a black t-shirt, because you got to think, if everybody bought the shirt in white, now I'm going to probably make double that just because everybody's buying it in black. So now I'm going to take that, take that $1,900, go reinvest that $500, $600 into black t-shirts. So now I'm going to go take the black tees and then probably go sell even double or triple out of them 80 tees, right? But I'm still sitting on inventory. So now I'm not really bottlenecked, and now I can go sell all the rest of them tees. So now I got mailbox money. A lot of people be like, oh, well, this can't work. This is going to take a lot of time. People don't understand. This is exactly what I did with my brand at the age of 23 years old when I had no money to my name. All I did was I went to go get a few tees, just a small batch. I didn't even get 80. I think I got like 50 shirts. I gave 10 to my friends and I sold the other 40. I held on to that cash like my life depended on it. And then I went up and then I got 100. And then once I pushed 80 of them, I gave 20 of them to like friends and family and influencers and stuff. Then once I sold out of that 80, then I got 160. So all I did was just kept stacking. Now, if you a hustler, and if you young, you believe in your vision, people will buy into your brand. I promise you. It's not hard to get people to buy right then and there. Hey bro, support me, $30 t-shirt, whatever. There was times where when I was coming up, I'll be drunk as hell, like in the club with all my partners, everybody wearing Lord knows t-shirts, and people right then and there like, hey bro, is this a gang or something? They'll go up to one of my friends and be like, why is everybody wearing these shirts? But then they want to be a part of it, and they like, I don't run this shit. They be like, my mans do or my cousin do. So then when people will come up to me, they'd be like, hey bro, like I'm trying to buy one of your shirts. So then I'm literally walking outside of the club, and the money that I just spent on bottles and everything, I'm making all that money right back right then and there, just because everybody was wearing my shirts. So just imagine if you up in high school, and especially if you got a clothing brand, you don't have no money, you took everybody's money up front, that was your initial investment money. That's exactly what I did. You know what I'm saying? You take that, go put it out to the market, you go sell them, and then you take all that money and then go reinvest, and then you still holding on to a little bit of profit for yourself, and then you just keep doubling up and doubling up and doubling up and doubling up. So now you're probably asking, well, how long did it take you to move the shirts? Well, it didn't take me long at all, because one, I'm known in my city. Two, I'm 23 years old and I don't got a pot to piss in. If I didn't make it happen, then I wouldn't even be here talking to you right now. So I moved with a sense of urgency, like my head was on fire. Literally, like I was literally moving as if my head was on fire. As soon as them shirts came, I didn't even stare at them like, wow, like 100 shirts, oh my God. No, I took all of them shirts, threw that shit in the trunk of my car, and I'm driving around my city all day long, literally selling them to friends, family, people in the street, pop-up shops. I was doing whatever was possible to get my name out there. So it wasn't hard for me to move 50 shirts in a week. It wasn't hard for me to move 100 t-shirts within a matter of a month. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't realize when you young, when you a Gen Z or millennial, you have one currency that older people don't have, which is time. So with my time, I'm hanging out where my core audience was at, which was outside. You know what I'm saying? So from the club to the streets, that's exactly where I was at, selling my clothes to every single person I can get in front of at the beginning. These are in the trenches phases, and these are the best times ever because you're getting all the lessons that you need when it comes to running your brand. So once you have that 1,900 and then you threw 500 to 600 back into the clothes, right? Now that extra 1,000 that you got, it's either two things that we can do. Either you're gonna spend that on yourself, or either you're gonna keep reinvesting. Now me personally, I'll keep reinvesting because I can blow up my brand a lot bigger than what it is just within my high school or just within my area. So I'm going to go get the Shopify. Now I'm finally about to go get the Instagram account, the TikTok account, and everything like that. Now I have enough inventory. Now I have enough B-roll footage because there's hella people in my school wearing my clothes. Now I have enough assets to like actually go out there and make dope content. Yeah, and now as well, I can go out there with a lot of confidence and a lot of certainty that the shirt might do good just due to the simple fact that damn near everybody in my high school and everybody in my area that know of me is actually buying my brand and they happy to wear my brand. So I'm like, if they're happy to wear it, then there's people out there in the world that would be happy to buy it and wear it as well. Yeah, so once I got all that set up, now I got a clean little website. I got my Instagram account, I got my TikTok account and everything like that. The first thing I'm doing is going on TikTok, but rather than trying to sell the t-shirt, I'm selling the vision now, because I see a lot of people, they go on TikTok and then they're sitting there just scrolling the fucking t-shirt on the ground, and it's like, bro, nobody knows you, likes you, or trusts you on a global level yet, right? So my whole thing is like, how can I get people to know of me, to like me, and to trust me? Why? There's no better story than selling the story of the brand. What was the reason of starting the brand? Who is this brand for? It's not for everybody, right? It's for a specific somebody. If I'm a street dude and if I'm up in high school, damn near borderline dropout, all this other stuff, I'm not trying to sell my clothes to cheerleaders, right? That's two different audiences. You know what I'm saying? So my whole thing is, why don't you sell yourself as the brand owner? And not only that, why don't you sell the brand story and the origin story behind the brand and who it's for and things like that to get people to buy in? Because you always got to remember, people want to be a part of something. When you look at cults, when you look at religion, when you look at politics, these are people that want to be a part of something. And look how prideful they are. If you a Christian, they against everybody who's a Muslim. And if you to the left and a Democrat, the right hates you. You know what I'm saying? So basically what I'm saying is that you want to have a cult fan base, but the only way that you can get a cult fan base is first having the origin story and what it's about and who the brand is for. I promise you, I have a cult myself. You guys can go on Grailed right now. People buy, sell, and trade my clothes. Like, and this is coming from a dude that didn't come from LA. I didn't come from New York. I started out of the trenches in the mud of Northeast Portland, Oregon. So for me to tell you that it's possible, like, you just got to follow these steps. And I promise you, it might not be in 90 days. It might be in 12 months or 18 months, but you will start to see that you are starting to build an actual profitable brand. And now you went from literally selling a few t-shirts out of the trunk of your car within a matter of the first half a year probably, to now you finally online, and now you building up that respect. Now you building up that likability. Now you're building out that trust, right? And now you building an actual brand that people want to be a part of. Because you always got to remember, 99% of the market right now that you guys see on TikTok and Instagram with these brands, 99% of them are just selling a commodity, but they have zero substance to them. I see one person, they're selling a fucking AK-47 on the t-shirt, and then to the left, they're selling clowns on the shirt. It's like, what's the correlation of this? So my whole thing is, if we can just shape, you know what I'm saying, the why we started this brand, who is this brand for, the creed behind it, and everything like that. You start off super bottleneck, you grab everybody's cash up front, you take that money, right? Now you go invest into the screen printer, you give everybody their shirts that they paid for. Now you sitting on extra inventory, move those like your life depend on it, take that cash, reinvest it into some more shirts or some new shirts, then sell those. And then once you get that big chunk, that 1980, right? Then you're going to reinvest even again. And then with the rest of those profits that you're going to be sitting on, that's when you go get to Shopify. That's when you make the TikTok. And that's when you do all this stuff without being so bottlenecked. So now you can start moving yourself up the hierarchy, right? Yeah, but once you get on these social platforms, that's when we can actually start building up, you know what I'm saying, that likability and that trust on a worldwide level with your brand, just like the same way that you got it in person in your high school and things like that. So I know that a lot of people out there are trying to start a clothing brand. There's a lot of struggling brand owners out there. I do not want you to be one of them. That's why I make videos like this. Like I told you, when I was 16 years old, I touched my first 10,000. By the time I was 26, I touched my first 6 figures. And by the time I'm 36, I'm going to touch my first million. So I'm just giving you all this advice on what I've gone through as a brand owner. You can leverage exactly what I did at 23, 24 years old to be a profitable brand. You can leverage that even if you're in middle school or high school, you know what I'm saying, without your mama's credit card, without credit, you know what I mean, and without hella cash, to really start building out this profitable brand that you always wanted to start. And then you don't got to give up on that Rolls Royce idea that you got, you know what I'm saying, just because you might lack the knowledge, the capital, or the resources. So with that being said, if you like this video, if you need more advice, you know what I'm saying, just tell me in the comments. You know, I'm trying to put out a video a day to help you guys out, you know what I mean, that's fun, that's entertaining, that's exciting, you know what I mean, to help out 100,000 brand owners out there. So with that being said, I'm out. Love is love. Peace.